Check 1, 2, 3, check. Check 1, 2, 3, check, check. 1, 2, 3, check, 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 check. 1, 2, 3, check, check. Check 1, 2, 3. Check 1, 2, 3, check. Hey everybody, happy Sunday. My name's Aaron, and I'm gonna finish or work on more this React Native stuff I've been working on. So let's see here, just making sure I have published out what's going on here, we'll going pretty quick here. Let's see here. I'm gonna I need to make sure that I got my simulators up. Let's see here what they're up to. Let's see here. Boom and boom. They're off screen, but I can move them around as needed. Obviously, we don't want them to tune up the screen, valuable screen real estate, unless we need them to, but we're cooking with Marge there. All right, let's see here. I want to close everything out, and I don't remember where I left off on Friday, so we're just gonna have to figure that out. Let's see here. I think the server was running, so I'm just gonna run a new version of it, just make sure everything's clean inside of there. So if you haven't watched the previous streams, I am building a React native module with Couchbase Lite, so that's what it's gonna be for. And I'm building it in React Native, and I'm using Expo as my example app. Now, Expo has some interesting properties to it, is that, Expo is, I think, provides a better debug experience, and as I've explained in other videos, I guess I can throw it up again. Just a reminder that, where's React's documents? We'll bring the React Native docs up over here, and in the docs, they actually recommend frameworks. They recommend using a framework, and they recommend using Expo. And let's see here, prerequisites, don't care. That's where do we get into here? Somewhere in here they say it. I always have to dig out where they actually have it. Somewhere in here, they do recommend that you use a framework. Is it under introduction? Yeah, it's they have a blog post, but this also they have it in their docs. I just don't remember what the link was. But they give you an overview of frameworks, and they really recommend Expo. And they say that it's a better experience, and they are not wrong by leaps and bounds. So there's plenty of information on React Native's website that says you should really be using Expo. The problem is none of the templates for building native modules have Expo in them. So you have to kind of go off the reservation and figure that out yourself, which I have done. And this is an Expo app running. We know that because we can go to device and go to shake, as in shake your love. Thank you, Deborah Gibson. And you can see here, this is an Expo container that the app is in. And I can open the JavaScript debugger if I needed to. I can do toggle for performance monitoring. I can see all the things I need to see in order to make sure my app is running as smooth as possible. So that's cool. Let's see where we left off. So I believe open works. So we can just do a test one, give it a default directory, and that opens successfully, and close should work also. And close did work successfully. We'll have to open that back up because we didn't close it. All right, let's see here. We're gonna skip copy for right now. Delete would delete the database. This should work. Now we delete it, so we'll have to make a new one. Let's see here. Oh, actually, this is kind of cool. So let me close. I closed it. I should be able to delete. Okay, so delete database by path is not done yet because you need to give it a path here. Okay, so that's cool. Let's go to get path and see if get path works. So there's no path for it because it's not open. But if we open it, it should give us back the path. So find the path of the database, and that's our database on disk. Does exist? We'll see if test one. Okay, so does exist? Database exist also is not working right. And I know change encryption key and performance are there. Okay, so we need to fix get path works, does exist, is not doing anything. That's bad. And then delete by path is not set up right. So let's fix, I guess, does exist first. That seems like a logical thing to do in the app. So now that we have a goal here, let's go through and try to figure out why it's not working. So let's go here. I don't remember what I was doing on Friday. So let's go to the exist code here and see what's going on here. So let me minimize our running stuff and see if we can figure out what's going on here. So right already, I can tell you that this is not working because it doesn't have a service mapping. We don't need import close here. This does not get path either. We would need a function for exist. Let's see if we have it. I don't see a function for exist, so that's going to be our very first thing to solve. Exist. This because it's a TypeScript file, and we need a function to go through and calculate that. Let's go borrow get path, and this will just be exist instead. Exist. Database, that looks good. If the database is there, we want to return exists. And this would not be path, it would be does exist. And we just want to return that. And why is this man? What? Requires two arguments. Name and directory. Oh yeah, that's right, because exist, we'll just check the file if it exists. You don't even need a database, so this is wrong. So we don't even need this. We just need the database name and the directory of string type. And let's see here. Then what we would say is we don't even care about this. We would say okay, that should keep that happy. We don't even need that. We just have to say await database exists. If I have this right. Set console. Okay, so that's wrong because it's not a static function. So let's go look at the database and see what's going on here. This is gonna be pissed for a while we figure that out. First, let's look at what the native API is, because if we're gonna emulate the native API in CodeSpace Lite, we should probably do it the same way, right? So let's see what's going on there. I'm looking for when do I have that open in my browser? Let's see here. That's React Native docs. That's not it. That's it. Let's bring that over here. Let's see here. So we got the database, and somewhere in here we should have an exist function, hopefully. Let's delete exists. And this is a static function, so that's right. So it needs to be static off of the database class. And that's what we did wrong. It's not static right now. So we had to go fix that, which means we have to stop the running because we have to change JavaScript code, which means hot reload will fail because the module code would change. Now, why does that happen? Well, okay, I've got a module that I'm working on, right? But React Native hot reload, at least the way I have it configured in Expo, does not have the ability to hot reload the module itself because it's a node module. So let's go take a look here at our function here. So you can see here we have static on some of these things, right? And so we need to find, let's go to our structure. Let's actually move structure over to the, it would be right. And we want it to make it bottom right. There we go. Because then I can just have it like this and I can search for the exist method. Let's see here. So this is all the things we have, and somewhere in here should be exist. In order for all this to work, it should be enough code, but I'm not. Let's see, TFO, embadge, exist, there we are. And so the problem with this is that this isn't static. And then it would be, you would have to pass in the name, and name would not be that, it would be the name that we passed in, and then there should be the directory. So wait, why do we need, we don't need 3 of these, we only need 2. Oh yeah, we'll have to pull the engine. So we have to find one of the other statics. I don't remember how well, I should be able to use the database locator to find it. But I have other static methods in here that do that. I should probably just make a helper method for the statics that does this. Let's see here, where is, so you have this get engine, but that's a public. Where is, delete is a static. There's 2 versions of delete. Let's find delete in here. And we should probably refactor that to fix that. Let's see, delete database. So that's the non-static. There should be another one. Delete collection. Should be another one that's static. See this one. Yes. Let's see, there's 18 mentions of it. The next one. Delete collection we don't care about. Oh, we don't care about delete document right now. We will eventually. There should be a delete database also that takes in the path. Yes. Here's exist. So, oh, that's the one we're trying to fix. Set log level. So here we go. So this is the line of code that we're looking for right here. This will go get the engine. I need to go up. Where did it exist? There. Let's find it here. So then what we need to do is just make a engine variable, and then it'll no longer be a this because so it's static. Because static, we can't use the internal pointer to engine. You know, we have to pull it out separately. And now let's see here. This is probably just formatting problems. Let's just reformat and see if that fixes it. Oh, it does not. Let's see here. It's saying that it requires database exist args. So I have an argument for it and types. So I'll have to go find out what the type is for that. So let's go find that, see what the argument I set up for it was. Did this last week in the stream actually, if I remember right. This would actually be in our core. So this would be in here and it would be in the root directory. There should be a types file, core types. Here we go. And then we could just scroll through here. Database, D is in database. Database args, that's not it. We want database exist args. Here we go. Database exist args have two things, an exist name and a directory. That's really wrong. It should be exists database name. Let's call this just database name. That's what's confusing, right? Database name and directory. All right, there we go. So this just needs two things. It needs a database directory, database name, and a directory. And we can just say, we can close this out so we have more screen real estate. Constant, we want args equal args of type database exists args equals. Let's do that, and then we'll just cut these out here. Move this over here. And that should. Oh yeah, pretier's mad. And why is args mad now? Because it's probably property name missing in type. Required name. I don't remember name being in there. Let's go check again. Database exists args only has two things, database name and directory. Oh, because it extends database args. We don't need to extend database args. That's what's going on here. It should be its own type. And so that should fix it. And then this should just be passing in args. And actually that would make it into a dictionary, which I don't like. We don't even need this, really. No, I think about that because we'll need it in Ionic because Ionic passes in dictionaries, but React Native specifically does not. So it would just be like this. It would be name and then directory for React Native. Oh, we'll have to, I'm sorry, we will have to do it as args. Let's go back to that. We'll have to change an engine. When engine calls it, we'll have to change it to be single variables because React Native, you can do it with NS Dictionary, but then, man, you're pulling a lot of crap out of NS Dictionary to get it back here. So this is right. So we're actually gonna say, let's call the engine. We're gonna pass it these arguments from JavaScript, and then we'll let the engine deal with this, right? So we're passing two things, database name and directory. So that fixes the database, but now we have to fix it in the actual engine itself. So we have to go into the engine code. This is the actual thing that calls React Native. This is an abstraction of our SDK. Like the database, that's an abstraction of our SDK. So then these engines are what actually implement the bridge between the native platform, which would be Swift and iOS, and then that JavaScript code I just wrote. So in here, we'd find the database exists right here, and this is where we break it out. So this is where we would call two things. We would call directory. So this is database name, and then directory. and that should return it properly. In Ionic, we'll just return the args, and it'll automatically send it into the call object, and we'll parse it just like we always do in Ionic. So that's good. So now what we should be able to do is just say const wait, database does exist. And I'm guessing it's mad because I haven't built, and so it doesn't know that the code changed, because this is in the Expo project. But the problem is I changed the native code, but it doesn't know about the change yet because I haven't done a build. So that's the issue at hand here that we're gonna have to fix. Let's see what goes on. I just noticed my webcam's not working. That's stupid. Let's see here. There it goes. All right, there we go. Webcam's working now. That's weird. Streamlabs sometimes it can be dirty. Let's see here. So to fix that, the path here, core types is fixed. We can't fix this until we fix the. I've got flies in here from the outside, and I got this new fly swatter that you're gonna watch me on stream deal with some flies here if these keep up. New fly swatter from Amazon. Out in my office here, we've been getting record rain here. It's storming for like months, it feels, with no end at sight here. So how do I fix this now? So now I need to actually go in and tell the compiler to rebuild so that the Expo app can see it. So we need to go back out, npm run a build, and this should tell Bob the Builder, that's his name. I didn't make React Native, but Bob the Builder is going to build this puppy and make it work. So then we have to go back into the Expo example app, and then this is where we're gonna have to do an npm run pre-build. We don't need to clear the cache. Now there is a theory you'd want to clear the cache if you've changed your native code, like Swift or Kotlin code. But if you're just doing a JavaScript code change, you shouldn't need to clear the cache per se. However, if you're noticing you don't see your changes in the code, then you do need to clear your cache. The answer is just try it, and if it doesn't work, then do try running your app, and if you notice that the code isn't there, then just running it with a clear cache. I'm not doing it because it takes so long. It adds like another minute, and I'm on a stream, and that minute actually is painful to go through. So there we go. We can see database exists now. It's showing up in the ID, which means that the build should work. And then we're just going to pass in our database name that we are sending in our directory. And then we just return does exist, and we have a helper function at this point in time, which is pretty badass. All right, there we go. So then in our page, we're going to get does exist from, what is that file called? Go to our services and find out what I called that. I just called the function exists. There we go. Does exist is cool. And then we would have to have two things we're tracking here: file location and database name, which we have there. And then we would just have to go into our update function here and say else. And we're just going to say const result equals does exist. And we're going to send it database. We don't need to send it databases. We just need to send it database name and file location. And then we can just say does exist, and we're just going to say result, which should give us a printout true or false, and that should give us the coolness there. And we could probably wrap it like this just so we know where the variable results are in. I like to sometimes use caret for that. And we have a database name function. I don't think that's going to work though, right? Because we're not getting the location. So locations never get set. So we're going to have to change this and come up with a new function. We do need that function, or we need a new component, because we'll need that same component for get path, right? No, not get path. For which one is it? Delete database. When you call the other delete database one, you would send it the database name and the path, and we delete it. So we have two screens that need the ability to have both you input the database name and the location of the database. We'll need that for does exist here, and then we'll also need that for the delete by path. All right, so that means we need to build a new component. That's not hard, right? So we can walk down this road and do that. Let's see here. Why is JetBrains mad? Oh, I should do that. 1 second here. Let me just restart the ID real quick because we need to. I use VI all the time and it's a little buggy. So getting a new version of that is coolio by me. Let's see here. All right, so we now know that we have our UI to the point, we have our code, our backend code to the point where it should probably work. But the problem is that our UI code, we don't have a component that we can use to render this. Oh, yeah, it's also mad because I'm not running right now. We should be able to hot reload the UI because all the UI stuff is in Expo. So because all the UI stuff we're writing is just standard, you know, the Expo app itself, we can add the component and do hot reload. We should be able to see the changes dynamically. The backend code I'm writing that goes and builds this native module, that is not working with hot reload right now. All right, so we're on the exist screen here, and that's what we're trying to fix here. So we need another field here for this, but we're using the database name form, and that's the reason why right here, this database name action form, it's not gonna work because it does not have two things on it. And so we need almost a new version of the database name action form, but it'd be more than the database name. It'd be database name, like location action form. And if, let's go look and see what database name action form does. It gives you database, a database that seems right. The prop should just be a type. And if we were to go into our types, let's go with the types here and see if we looked at, it's taking in a database name action form prop, database name action form. It's those three arguments. That makes sense. All these do is confirm that you can't send more information in because TypeScript will be pissed, right? So if you think about this for a second, we're sending in these three variable names. And so what TypeScript does here is validates that these three things are actually defined in this property type. And if it's not, then it's going to be mad and say, hey, look, man, you didn't send me the right arguments for me to make this form work. And that's pretty much it, because the fact that, you know, in JavaScript, you don't have type support. And that that's a problem, right? For a lot of developers. So that's what TypeScript's bringing to the table. So for, oh, there's that fly. Where did it go? Fly. You're about to have a very bad ending. Don't mess with me, fly. It's Sunday. I have no patience for you. All right, let's see here. So we'll need a couple things. One, we'll need one of these new props. And man, I don't want to have to type super long, and there he is. Well, this fly's really messing with me.
Am I alive yet?
The stream's gonna turn into Aaron versus the fly stream. Let's see here. New file. So we need to make a prop first before we make anything else. This fly is very aggravating. Database. So this would be database name location. Database name directory action form props type ts. Seems cool. We can, oh, I don't want to show limitations. So, and this is actually called database name directory action form. Oops, that's definitely not what I wanted. I wanted to borrow the code from the prop so I don't have to type so much code because it's very simple. Right here. Nope, not copy. We want action form. It'd be set database name, set file location, and then file location, and then handle update requests. That's it. And this is database name directory All right, so that would give us our prop. So we're making progress here. So that's the first thing we need, is to have a property that we can pass in. So now if we go to our components, we need to build a new component. And our goal is to have as many small components as possible. In React, you don't have the larger, if you were to just take a page, a screen, a view, whatever you want to call it, right? That renders, and you were to build everything as one big component, the problem you're gonna have to start dealing with is what happens with re-renders, right? Because if you have a big component and one thing changes, there's a chance that the entire screen is gonna re-render, and that sucks for performance reasons. So the goal in React Native is, at least one of the goals, in my opinion, is you want to make the component sizes as small as possible and reusable, right? In the sense, I know I have 2 screens I need to use this form on. Why would I hard code that into both screens and have to copy and paste it, right? So instead the goal is, how can I reuse? And so React Native components are just functions. And so we can see here, we're just exporting a function and we just tell the function to render some stuff. That's the magic of React Native. It's very simple. I'd like to say it's more complicated than that, but it really isn't. So this is gonna be database name, directory, action form. And the reason why I call it action form is because you're going to send it a method, a function that it's going to run in order to update. And so that's an action. Then you're going to pass me in, and then it's a form in the sense that it's something that people fill out. And so that's the reason why I'm naming it what I'm naming it. So this is database name. So I just copied it from the previous component because it's very similar. And I just hate typing. Why is this being a complete turd? I don't have my cap lock on, do I? Maybe I do. There it goes. Cap lock must have been on. All right, let's see here. So that looks good. We're gonna export that. We're gonna take in, oh geez, let's pretty fast to start out with. This is already being aggravating. So this is database name directory. And now we could just go into here, tell it to import from that, and then we need to say we have the file location, and then we're all set. File location. Okay. That seems cool. So those are the things you have to pass into me in order for me to be happy. I can get rid of this because we're not using that anymore. And then let's go here. So we're gonna say we have a database header view with some icons. And it's going to just have the play button because that's our action. Database tool should automatically do that. And then we have a styled input. And then we just need another styled input. So we'll just copy the styled input. And we just need another one for the directory. So we can say capitalization. This is file location. And let's say that this is set file location. We'll say that's new text. Ooh. New text because that's what we're passing in right here to the function. And that's coming from the event. So whatever they type in will be passed in as this variable, and that variable will use an arrow function to then just send it over to this function, which should set the state of it. And then in here, the default value would be just called the file location. So, and that's the placeholder, cap styles of none. Oh shit. Of course, this is not gonna work the way I want it to. I just realized the problem's gonna be is that I wanna have a button that gives you the native path toolbar. So we're gonna need another icon for that. And that is in the config action form. This one right here. And so we're gonna need we're gonna need to handle this also. So we're gonna have to update our we're gonna have to update our property here because we need to also take that in. So in our types that we had earlier, here it is. Let's go into our, we're going to add in another one out here, which is going to be an arrow function. Yep. That's cool. And so now we're going to handle that also. Now that we have these icons, we can send both of them in. And that should render it now with the ability to see the folder icon for changing, to set the path automatically, which is what we want to do. You can type it in if you want, but I am super lazy. I'm not typing that long directory path in by default. That's a young man's game, not mine. All right, let's see here. So we've got our component really kind of done. We're going to send it 2 icons onto the toolbar, where we basically are using the header component I've already created that draws the icons and makes them clickable. I've already created the styled text input. I did that in the last stream. That gives us the ability to have these inputs and have them stylized. The only other thing I'm missing is that, technically speaking, these should have a divider in between them. And I've done that on some of the other screens, like copy, I know has the divider on it. Let's see here. Oh, that's the service for copy. I want the service, I want the UI for copy. Let's go find copy here. And there should be a divider in here. Wait, do I have gray somewhere? Right here, divider. Why is divider gray? Did I bring it, put in the component? I did. So it's not needed because it's probably in copy action form. So that's where I need to go find divider's code example of it. There's a style that you use for it. Let's go to copy action form and take a look at that. I don't remember how I write everything, so I always just find in my own code where I did it. Here's the style for it. And we'll probably have to tweak that a little bit. I'm probably not gonna be happy with it out of the box, but I put do not disturb on, but yep, my phone's still binging. Let me set do not disturb up. My wife wants to watch the puppy, Yoda. Let me set do not disturb. I'll just text her back. Yes. So stream has to end by 5 because Yoda the puppy's getting a bath at 5 because that looks like when the rain is over. It's raining right now, which is why I'm streaming. Let's see here. So now you know everything to know about Yoda the puppy. He's getting a bath. He's gonna be really upset once he gets the path. And stream has to end by that. So we see here we're using database name, but we want database name directory action form from database name directory. And then we just need a couple things here. We need a function to go through and get our file location const and we need to close that arrow function. I think that's all we need to close the arrow function. Let's format that. And I should have a function that does this. There should be a function in the services that just goes and gets it. And then all I have to do is call that database file, get default file path. And this will get it and return it. So I'll just say this function that should be the code. I need to import that, and this is just prettier stuff probably. All right, so then all we need to do now is change this to be database name directory action form. Directory. And then we need to send it some new stuff. We're gonna say File location equals file location, set file location equals set file location, and then we need to say handle location press. We're gonna send it get default directory. Magic sauce. And by theory, if all that worked right, we now have a new UI. Look at that. We just gotta, bring the app back up and hot reload's working. We have our little divider. I like the divider. Actually, the spacing in this divider is fine by me. I think this is actually more than I'm happy for. Let's see here. And that's also, now that should be 3 lines, not 1. Don't like it when I can't read the full directory. So we gotta fix that. So in our database directory form here, this stylized component needs to have more bang for it. I think I have a style for that. It's in database name. I think it's in database config action form. I think I have, and that uses database config form. That's in database config form. Style. Multi-liner true. This is what I was saying. So this should be, this is it here. So we would want us to say multi-line equals true, because that would make it multiple lines. And then I think what happens here is when you set this like this, add in the mid height to 20, we'll go through and make it 3 lines by default. But this is already stylized text, so the style's already set on it. This multi-line should probably make it good enough for me. People don't use this that often. Yeah. So there it is. But now the problem is there's not enough padding on it. I'm gonna have to change the style. Which means I need to pull the style from the styles. Because otherwise it won't work. You're probably saying, why can't you just use the config option you have in the other one? Because the config asks for the encryption key also, and I don't need the encryption key in this one. It's a different component, right? The config asks for a directory and a why is this app running like 3 times? Seems weird. Oh, poop. I think that just broke my chat. Does it run one for each platform? It must. I have this new extension app I found called Social Stream that supposedly lets me dock the chat for all 3 live, so I can see all 3. That's what it's supposed to do, but we'll see if somebody chats. And we'll see if that works. So I need to bring in style, which is something I wrote that basically sets all the styles, because unlike native land, everything in React Native is manually. And then I can take the same style I did here and just change. I don't need to change the text color because this is already a styled input. That should be fine. The only thing I need to change is the height to be undefined and the minimum height, and then the margin. So everything else should be fine. So I should be able to I don't need text here like this. This is what I really need. And let's go take a look and see if that helped. It did, but we still need some bottom margin. Because you can see here, it's just too close to result, and I don't like that. This could be unique, so we're gonna say margin bottom. I'll make that 10 too. Let's see if that is going to make it look the way I want it to look. Maybe 20? Try that now. That's better. I like that. Of course, I clicked the button, but I don't have any code set to run, so that's not gonna work. I think that's good enough for me. And this is an example, right? It doesn't have to be pixel perfect, but that's pretty good. And then now we do have to fix the function I run. So let's go here and find out. Okay, that seems all cool. We're done there. We don't care about copy. What we care about is exist now. So when you run exist, what it should do, update. If database doesn't, database names required, result is going to equal does exist. We're going to send a database to the application, and then we're going to catch an error. Okay, well, it bombed out, so that's bad. We should probably take a look at that function one more time to figure out like why did it bomb out. We may have to debug this and see what's going on. Let's just check here. So database exists. Okay, that's cool. The exist screen should be fine, so that's probably not where the problem is. So let's go check the engine code to see what happens when engine runs. We go here, let's go find, where's our structure at? And find the database exists function. What happens here? We get a promise and resolve and reject. We call database. Let's call database delete. That's going to be a problem. It needs to be database exists. And it passes the database name in directory, and then it resolves. That fly is still bothering me here, trying to make my life miserable. Now here comes the problem. I'm changing the core engine code. Now I told you that the core engine is separate from the Expo app, right? It's in the source, the root source here. So I should probably just show you the project structure. You can get an idea of what I'm talking about here then. All right. This is the source of the native module. This is the source of the Expo app that we're using. So basically it's kind of, this is a mono repo. The Expo example is inside of the actual source code of the native module. So here's our source, and this is the engine code I'm talking about. And this is the implementation of our SDK for all the different things it can do, like databases and collections and documents and indexes and all those kind of things, right? So the problem is that anytime I change the source code of outside of Expo example, it doesn't know, hot reload doesn't know it changed. And so the only way that I can get hot reload to do that is I have to recompile, right? And so I just changed the code of the engine, this native engine that I have for React Native. So I'm gonna have to stop the development server, change directory back out into the root directory, do an npm run build. This will tell Bob the builder, which is a React thing, to go through and build the actual source code. And that, of course, builds it into the library. This is the distribution. And then depending on how you're reading the distribution code in, you can read it either as in just regular JavaScript, or if you're using TypeScript, you can go into TypeScript. You're going to get all your types here. So here's your maps and definitions. Great for developers using that. So I don't care how you want to use my native module. If you're a JavaScript developer, you should have support for that. If you want to use TypeScript, you should have support for that. And of course, this is our actual module code itself. And let's see here, bump it up, bump, 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 bump. So once we do that, the actual example app should be able to see the changes in the native code. So we go back into the Expo example directory. Now here we have to do an npm run pre-build. Pre-build actually goes through and sets up all the code to make sure that, hey, look, you know what, you did some changes. Let me pull the node module code in case anything changed. All right, if you're getting super technical about it, did I really need to do a pre-build? The answer is probably not. And the reason why is because I only changed code that exists in the existing files. Pre-build would only, technically speaking, need to be run if two things happen. If the native code changes for some reason, you definitely need to run a pre-build. And you should probably do a clean cache on it if you're doing a pre-build there. Or if you add a new JavaScript file. If you add a new JavaScript file to your native module, then you have to do a pre-build. But if you're just changing the existing files, technically speaking, the node module should just have pointers to those on the file system. And since they're just file changes, you should just read those in because they're just pointers to it. I like to do a pre-build because I get used to doing the same thing over and again, and then I don't forget to do it. And I'm not mad spending 20 minutes trying to figure out like why something didn't work. Oh, I forgot to run pre-build when I did my debug. So I'm only really doing it for myself because I like to have routines, and once I get used to a routine, I'm cool. But you don't always need to run pre-build, but you do need to restart it if you're going to change these files because you're changing literally the files. So the debugger wouldn't know about it. So you would have to stop the debugger and start it again, no matter what. So all that to get around to say, by theory, that should have been what was breaking us in JavaScript. Now, there's no guarantee that this is not broken in Swift, because I don't remember what I did on Friday. Maybe I broke it in Swift. Not really sure, don't remember, but we're gonna find out very quickly here. So we're gonna go into, now it does exist, I don't need a database. All I need to know is the database name and the location. It should tell me if it exists or not. So we're seeing here already, exists with directory is not recognized Object-C method. So we know that the Swift code's not screwed up. All right, let's go ahead and reload. When we're gonna have to stop this thing anyways, because if we're gonna change Swift code, we're going to have the app be really upset. So here we are, we have, let me just close this out and reopen it to make sure that I have a clean version. Loading the Xcode. Oops, that's the simulator. Let's get code open here, and then we're gonna open the Expo app. And I'm going to then, here we are. So let's see here. We need to look at our M file to start out with. This is our bridge that we define all the methods that React Native knows about. And so that's really important. I'm gonna make this part of the screen go away because we're on a stream and screen real estate is really important. Now in Xcode, we get these little pull downs so we can get our little different parts of it that we can take a look at. So in here, we actually care about the database functions. So we're gonna move to the mark of that. Let's see here, those close, copy, delete, to delete with path. That's the new one I was talking about, database exists. So here is database exists. It's there. Name with directory, with resolver, with rejector. That's right. So let's go over to our implementation file, which is over here. And that's where, this is technically speaking a macro file. We're just using this, technically speaking, Object-C code. But these macros are actually going to go through a map so I can call this in Swift. So in here, we need to go to database and find exists and find out why it thinks it's wrong. So I have database exists with directory. So we got to check all the naming in here because this, if it's not perfect, it won't work. So name is going to be the very first thing, but that's the first, in Object-C, that's the first variable. So that comes for free with the first part of the name of the function. And then we have with directory, and we're passing in a directory then. We have with resolver and then with rejector. That's all right. Because we have a resolver, a rejector, a directory, and a name. And those variable names, let's just double check those. This is going to be in a string and in a string. So those are both pointers. That's all right. And our code said that it could not, our code very specifically, our error said that it couldn't find the method. So database exists should be with an S. Let's go check our JavaScript code, make sure that exists. And if it does, then I have a feeling that database exists. 4 args, database name, directory, and then the other two are the resolver and rejector are automatically added by React Native. You don't have to do anything for that. So that's right. So this, to me, you're saying, well, Aaron, it doesn't seem like there's nothing wrong in your code. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with my code here. So that means I probably need to do a pre-build clean cache, and that's probably gonna fix it. What? Yeah, because the Object-C code probably has, or I changed the Swift code. I probably haven't done a cache clean since I changed the module code. And that's what I was telling you earlier. If you don't do this, then you have that problem. So right here, I have a pre-build clean that does an Expo pre-build with the dash clean. And that should, by theory, fix this. PM run clean, or pre-build colon clean. And it's gonna ask me if I don't want to proceed because, oh, I gotta close Xcode. Oh, I forgot to do this close. Because this will destroy the CocoaPod and recreate. This is like the big middle finger. Not fun. This takes about a minute. While it's taking a minute, I'm gonna actually go grab something to drink real quick. So I'm gonna be right back in 2 seconds.
Travel
Of course, once I have a weapon, this fly won't come around. All right, let's see here. Put the headphones back on. Back to the main coding module. We're done. 56 seconds it took to rebuild the native module. And now we can just do run iOS again. Let's see if it works. See if we still get the error. If we get the error, then we have to take a look at our native bridge and try to figure out like what's going on between there. Why is it that we're not, you know, we're not, the macro is not making the same method name that JavaScript thinks. And so because that the bridge won't work. 3 parts that could be broken. It could be broken the code that calls the native module. It could be broken the macro file, or it could be broken your actual implementation of Swift. So it's only gonna be those 3 spots that could be broken. So you just basically check each one, check the typing. Everything should match from a naming convention standpoint. If you have an uppercase versus lowercase, that's gonna be a problem. If the signature doesn't match, right? The arguments don't match, you're gonna have a problem. So you just have to make sure everything is perfect. This is the tedious part. And I've been burnt multiple times by this in the previous streams. If you watched it, you've seen that. And because I did a pre-build clean, you can see this build takes quite a while also. Pack a lunch moment. Let's see here. All right, we're back up. Let's go through and does exist and see if it works. Step 1. Okay, database exists with directories, not recognized object-C method was thrown while database exists on target with parameters. So it's still saying database exists with directory, but it's not giving me the other 2 parts in the name. That's a problem. It should be database exists with directory with resolver and rejector, right? And so that's definitely a problem in Swift. So let's so we're just calling database exists here, and it knows that then this is going to map to some kind of function, right, over in React Native that we have to handle. And we don't need the full name. We just need to name the map in. So let's see here. Let's go look back in Xcode. Let's see if we can figure out where the naming convention is getting broken. So we had to open our pods, development pods, our React Native for here, go back here. Trying to tell my boss this is the reason why this project is taking longer than it should. Over in Ionic, this was just way easier. The mapping supported Swift data types, and so I didn't need to come up with Object-C names. Like over here I do, and it's tedious. So let's see here. We need to go into our mark, find database functions. From here, we need to find the exist function. So database exists with directory, and here's our problem. See it? We're missing the colon. If we don't have the colon in there, this is no longer a variable. And so that's a problem, right? So you have to have, and honestly, delete with param is gonna have the same problem here because this needs to have a colon here. Without the colon, it's not a variable. Or it's not a part of the name of the function. So what happens is each characters before the colon is part of the name of the function. This function's name in Object-C is database underscore exists with directory, with resolver, with rejector. That's the name of the function. The colon then tells it anything after that is the variable that you're gonna pass in that matches that part of the function name. That's Object-C in a nutshell. And so that's the real problem. We just need to make sure that over here in our Swift definition that we make sure that we also state that same thing. So see here, database exists, colon with directory, colon with resolver, colon with rejector. That's it. That is the broken part. So let's go ahead and tell it to build again. npm build. I mean, the good news is that none of this is super hard. It's not like I'm creating really complicated problems I don't know how to fix. We're gonna do a pre-build clean, because I definitely changed the iOS code, and I definitely wanted to do that. And then, technically speaking, I'll do a npm run iOS, and life is good. That should fix it, and then we'll go back and probably fix the database delete with with location screen also. Since they work kind of the same way, it should be almost the same exact code. And then once we have those two done, I think we're done with the database screens. Let me just double check. It does exist. Get path was working. Delete by path and exist are two new ones I created don't work. And then we'll go over into collections to see what we can get done over there. See if we can get the rest of the collection screens working. I'm pretty sure most of these were working. Get scope, I know default scope and get scope we did last stream. I think yeah, so we don't have the list one working. So we need to get scope list working. That's weird. I thought we did default collection and create collection, but those should be pretty easy, and get collection. Those are almost all very similar to get scope. Delete collections, those same things, delete database, so that's also pretty easy. And then list collection, list collection, it should say, not list collection. So I'll have to fix that. That's a typo. And then listen to changes. Well, that's not, we're not going to handle that right now. We'll get everything working. I'll go back to the database, the listeners last. Those themselves are a challenge. All right, so that's working. So that's good. npm run iOS. Note build errors is always a good sign. And let's see if we can't get does exist screen working, and then we'll get deleted by path working. And it should be almost the same song and pony trick. And actually we'll reuse our component that we just wrote that gives the ability to give the database name and the location, because that's what delete by path does. See, normally when you delete a database, if I were to make database 2, for example, give it a file location. Now, of course, Metro's not running right now, so this ain't gonna work. I gotta wait for Metro to come up. But if I were to click this and create that database, then delete it, you're deleting the database, and the only reason why the API works is because you're deleting a database you already have defined. It's already in memory. So there's two ways you can delete a database. You can delete a database you already have in memory by just giving the name of the database that you have in memory, right? And we could do that. Or you can say, I don't have the database at all in memory. I just know where it is in the file system. Delete it for me. And this guarantees that it goes through and deletes it, because a database behind the scenes is a little bit more complicated than just a single file. And I'm not going to get into the complications of that, just so you know that you should never delete a database in Couchbase Lite by just going to the file system and delete it yourself. You should always use the API, the SDK API, because it guarantees all the little files get deleted with it. Especially if you're using blobs, you could have a bunch of attachments that are stored also on disk, and you're going to not get those attachments deleted if you try to delete it yourself. So the delete by path is going to go through and delete the real database and all the junk that goes along with the database, and that's important. All right, we're back up and running here, and we should be able to go through, and we know database 1 is already there, so we should be able to do it. In fact, we should be able to just say test 1. Oh, that's not open right now. What am I thinking here? But let's go through and test 1. Does exist, and see if it works. It's false. Does not exist. That's weird because it should exist. Test 1. Opened it. Test 1. Should be the default path. No, it's true. So, when I deleted the app, when I rebuilt it, when I did clean cache, it probably removed the app completely from my phone. So the database did not exist. But now you can see I went through, opened it, existed. Now it does exist. And then I can close the database, of course, right? Test 1. Successfully. And now if I were to close the app, it should, technically speaking, still be installed on the phone. This gets a little bit hard and tricky because Expo is running, but we should be able to see if it does exist. We'll see if when we close the app, it should keep the file in the file system. So you can see it's still true even though I don't have it open. But if you do a pre-build, like a clean, you're going to delete the app completely, and then you'll lose all your database files. So Expo, no dangerous unless you understand what it's doing. That makes sense to me. So that's working. So we can get delete by path working now. So let's go through and do that real quick. You see here, the first problem is we just simply don't have the component to handle this. we can actually keep that app open because most of this should be in JavaScript, right? I think so. Let's just keep this open. I'll move it to a different screen and we'll take a look at this. All right. Back to UI coding here. So let's take a look here. We need to go into the example app, and we're going to go into this, the page, which is our app. And then here's all of our pages based on routing. We're going to go to the database. So it's a database page, and it's a delete that path. All right, here we go. So we need to delete. Let's go take a look at our services. Let's see whether or not we have a service that actually do this. Delete. We have delete database. We have one that takes in the databases, set database, and that's not going to work because all we need is the path and the database name, and it should do the rest. Let me think about this for a second. Should we? I'm going to make the decision in this app because it's my app and I'm writing it that we made the assumption that if you're going to delete the database by path, that you don't care about the managed context. But it's a bad experience if I do that. We should care about the managed context. Yeah, I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to have to check the managed context and then also make sure if it's in managed context that I delete it from there also. So delete database by path. It's going to be a new file that we're going to create, and we're going to copy this because this function is almost the same. We're going to import database, but this is going to be called delete database by path. And we need to give us the databases because this is where we care about the context. We'll need the set databases because we'll need that. We need the database name, and then we need the file location, which is also a string. And that should be it. And we're going to. Why would we have a string? Oh, because we're sending a message back whether or not we deleted it successfully. That makes sense. All right. So constant database equals database name. We're gonna say. If database and databases, we're going to let's delete the database first and then take care of state. So first we're going to do is say try. No, we don't want to try because if this throws an exception, we want to catch it on the page. We don't want to bubble up, or we don't want to swallow any errors that end up happening. So we would say here, await database dot delete. What is it? Exists. We might not have this, right? I may have the function wrong, which means we're gonna have to stop the debugger and start it because I see exist set log level, but I don't see the other one. Turd. All right, and we're changing the plugin again. Let's go back to the plugin and try to fix all the stuff in the plugin. So we're gonna go here, and then we also need to go in here and find the database function. Here's a class for database. Make this minimize, make this minimize, so that we can see more stuff. We can go into structure here and now see what's going on. Let's go find delete. So we should have delete database here. We have exist, but I don't see another delete option. There should be a delete by path. And that's the missing function. So it should be a static. That should just be deletes the database, delete database by path. And we can say we don't care about closed databases. This is going to be a static. Oop. We should be able to use the same function because it's a static. We're going to say, but we have to do the same thing we did in exists. we had to pull the engine out first. Actually, we can just copy this code because it's literally almost the same thing we need to do. So let's see here. We're going to say here, engine. We're going to say and I think we are missing probably the delete function here. Also, let's check database delete. Only has one function call. Path. And the args would be actually the exist args. And then we're gonna say database delete args name. Path, and then args.load directory. Why is it bad? Oh, it's not bad. It's what? Database name. Okay, and then we're just going to reject and resolve because delete doesn't do anything fancy. Okay, so delete by path. Take this to him. We send database name and directory into deleted by path. That's cool. Engine's now fixed. We had to go to database here though and fix it here. We want to say database name equals this needs to pass in two things. Database name of type string and directory of type string. Oops. Wait, is this the new delete function? Yeah, that's the old one. All right, let's see here. So database name would be called database name, and that should do there. And we should be able to say return. This is that. It's delete by path. Right, that's what we called it in engine, right? Or closed engine. We called it what? Delete by path. All right. Okay. And it doesn't exist because I haven't compiled it. It doesn't understand that it actually does exist. Let's see here, and then actually it's not. Let's just be returned because this is a void. Just have to do a build to fix that. I guess what's build. Oh, we got an error. Wow, this been a while since we got this. Unexpected reserve word. Location. Which file? Oh, we know which file, right? We've only changed 2 files. Wait. What? Oh. Method's not marked for async. Still getting one. We have to build definition files. There we go. Delete by path. Oh, duh. No, it's right. I screwed up. I forgot to create the interface definition for it. So I made a new method, but the problem is I can put an engine I want, but the method doesn't exist unless it exists in there. So where did I define it? This is database. Okay, so it's delete by path. Takes in. So if we go into here, we need this. This needs to be the definition. So we need to bring it here, and then we need to go into core types. And then core types, we need to define that in the engine interface. So let's bring up structure here, and then just go into the actual definition of it. There we go. Let's find database delete, and then we just need to make another one for it. That's the issue. This should be promise void. Did I spell promise wrong? No. Oh, prettier. That's the issue. All right. And now that should fix that, and everything should be magical. I forgot that we can't just go into engine and add a new method without first telling the interface that it inherits from that we have a new method that we're trying to implement. That logically makes sense. All right, we're cool. All right, so that should fix that. And that should fix everything up to Swift. So we should do that before we go even further to make sure Swift is right. So we have this delete by path function that we need to have. Make sure that exists, right? Pods, development pods. This is my native module I'm creating. Here it is. Here, find it here. Go to iOS, find it here. Go to here. And then we also need to open this up. We can close. No, we need both these open. We need split screen on this. Put it here. Close it here. Puppies, kittens, rainbows. Use it here to find our database functions. Let's find out if database delete with path. That's a problem. I'm pretty sure I call it. I call it that. If it exists here, delete database with path, and it takes two things in. Oh, it takes them in reverse order too. Shoot. Crap. We should check that. No, it's path with name. Okay. I have to call that backwards in JavaScript. I can fix JavaScript. All right. Well, that told us a bunch of stuff. One, it should be called delete with path, not delete path. Let's see here. I'm going to change anything there, so we'll have to fix all the stuff over here. So first, let's go back into our core types and fix it there. So core types, delete, database delete with path. Database delete with path. Okay, and then engine's got to get fixed because engine's going to have the wrong name to call. Shoot, it's done here. And then this will be delete with path. And then we need to make sure, because we're passing two strings, that we pass the directory first and then the database name second. There we go. Delete with path. This should be called delete with path. So you're gonna pass it to path and then the name of the database. That should fix that. The rest of this should work. We just have to now fix the rest of these. All right, let's do a build. Oh, we got it here. What do we get? Build definition. Okay. One error. Database delete is declared. It's not by path, it's with path. Forgot to fix it here. And 0 errors. We are good. Rock and roll. Expo example. I'm definitely gonna do a pre-built clean because I changed Swift. Oop, let me close Xcode. Okay, it's closed. I do want to proceed. Very important. Bad things could happen. Crossing streams is bad, as in Ghostbusters. All right. This should take a second, and once we have the CocoaPods and stuff installed, that should fix that, and then we should be able to, in here, is this our function we're working on? The service. This is what we care about. That's our page, but this is our function. So we should be able to do it here, and then say, we're not going to actually do that. Why not do the database first? We would do it in right, but we'd send it, and don't have to send the file location first, and then the database. Nope, and it takes it the other way, JavaScript. Okay. Make sure that's the case. It is. It's a database. We take two args. And then the regular delete database should also work. And the reason why it should work is because one of these is static async and the other one is not. In TypeScript land, it's really complicated. You can have method overriding, but its syntax is not great. You know, I'm not a fan. I did a bunch of it and I was like, well, this just feels like hot garbage. We're in iOS right now, and we should be able to hopefully fix the rest of this now. So our function should work, delete database by path. We're going to first go through and delete the database. Then we're going to check if the database exists in state. If it does, we're going to remove it. And then return state back. And then we don't need the else statement because this is only going to be if the database exists in state. And then when all this goes bad, or when all this goes through, we can say deleted database. Database deleted successfully. And that should be the proper function. Let's see what's going on here. Okay. Compiling native modules. It's still compiling native modules. Right, so that should fix the function code. And then here, a little bit more complicated. So we're going to say delete database by path. So that's delete database by path. Path. Okay, that should get that. Our app is now back up and running. Does not see our UI changes. We haven't probably wrote those yet, so let's go find that. All right, so let's see here. We are using what? We're using database name action form. That's the problem. Remember, we wrote a new component just a little bit ago that fixes this, so we need to give it that new component. So in here we have the new database name. Like database name. Not that. Not that. What do we call it? Why don't I see it? Config, name directory, there it is. This is one we want. Yep. So database name directory action form. And that should get that. Now it should be mad until we fix a couple things here. So when we database name directory. We'll have to send in a couple things. We'll have to send it the set file location and your file location. And we also need to send it the function call that goes and gets the directory. What did we just write? Exist. It's like one liner. Where is it? Good. This calls that function we have that gets directory path. And then we just have to send it there. That should make it happy. And delete that path. If we take a look here, delete database now has two things. Still not done though, because we have to fix this code right here. Let's make sure everything else, there's no grays. I don't like grays. This will be a gray until we send it in. This will be a gray until we call it. Everything else is fine here. Let's go find update. If database name is not set, you're gonna have to send me a database name. Now we're gonna say this, but we're gonna have to send in more things. Be happy. And so this is gonna be delete database by path. And delete database by path. The function we just wrote takes more things. Delete database by path should take in the following. Databases, set databases, database name, file location. All right, let's see here. Move that there, make sure we're calling that with those order. Update. Close this so we have screen real estate. Databases is there. Set database is there. Database name's there. And then we need file location. Go. And if it's cool, we're gonna send the results. The results should say database deleted successful. And if there is some kind of exception that we do not see here and it throws, it should bubble up to this try catch. The catch should catch it, and we should get the other back. Puppy kittens and rainbows, folks. Here, I think that's it. That's just the previous error we had before I fixed the code. That should be fine in there. Rock and roll. Only one way to rock. That's the closest thing and try it. By theory, test one. It does exist. It's not open, so we should be able to believe it. Okay, well, we're getting a error 0. Don't know what that means. The operation could not be completed with a database error of 0. Well, let's go in the Swift line and see if we can figure out why that's happening. All right, Swiftland, how are you doing here? Bring Swift in. Oh, 1 second. My wife is texting something else now. That's cool. All right, let's see here. Let's go in and we got our simulator here. We're running. Let's attach process. Debug. Attach process. Oop. Let's make sure we're on the right. Not good. Not good. When Xcode regenerated. Let's make sure I get a schema example. Okay. Here we go. Much better. All right, let's go into development pods. Go into. Oop, we want the pod files here. Node module. This should be our Swift code. Specifically the Swift. And then we want to look at the function that we just created. Database delete with path. Let's see if we're getting the very back to start out with that we want. we are debugging an iPhone 15 Pro. That's cool. We're going to go to debug, attach process, for example, and that should attach to the simulator we have here. Attaching. This does take a few seconds to attach, and we can test the. Oh, you can see here that already I know it's trying to attach because this whole app has froze. That's what the debugger does when it tries to attach. All right, we're running on it. We should be attached. We can confirm this usually by going into the logging and turn logging on. We should see a message. We'll say debug. We'll clear here. I still didn't see the message down here. We should have saw that. It's usually a bad sign, to tell you the truth. I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt. No, okay, we are seeing it. Okay. Okay. Let's see if we get a breakpoint here. We do. All right, hey, we're getting breakpoints. That's a good sign, folks. So let's see what's going on here. Our name is getting set to test 1. Our path is getting set to the proper path. Hey, these are both good signs, folks. That's good. And so let's see here. I already see the problem. Right here is that we are just calling the main delete function. That ain't gonna work. Ain't gonna work. We gotta go to database manager and make a change because database manager would have to call the other version. Do I have a function for this? Let's go find out. Delete. There's our problem. We need another function here that deletes by path. Well, right here. That's weird. Wait, what? Okay, we do have one. We just have to send the path and the database name. Okay, the function exists. Okay, it does exist. Cool. Okay, so that's, I take that back. So the only problem is here is I'm calling the wrong one. I should be calling delete. So I should get the database, get the path. So it's database path and database name. I should be calling it, oh shoot, I closed it already. I shouldn't have closed it yet. What is it? It's just called delete. And the path is first, and then you'd send the database name second. So you'd say database path, comma, and then what's the variable name for this? Oh, Xcode will fix it for me. That's the issue. Once again, a wrong signature for the method call. The only issue here. I must have wrote this on Friday and just forgot. I don't know, but once again, very easy problem to fix. I have to close Xcode because I have to do a new build because I changed the Swift code. You'll see a pattern here. npm run build. Expo example. Let's just run a pre-build and see if it works. I mean, we changed the code. Might have to do a clean though. See if this fixes it. Get some hydration here while we're waiting for the excitement of the build. Right. And building. Here we go. Moment of truth. First, let's find out if it exists. Test 1. It does exist, so that means we can delete it. Test 1. Boom. Deleted. Let's check exists, and it should be false. False. We're now able to delete databases by the path. That's really nice. Why would you want to do that, right? I mean, that's a question to ask. You may be copying databases and building pre-built databases and then merging information between database files. This is actually something more common than you'd imagine. And in that case, you do want to have that flexibility to be able to delete it from the file system without having to open it and then delete it, which is, takes some memory to do that. You open a database, right? And so by doing this, you don't even have to have the database open. You can just delete it by path. So that's cool. All right, I know the rest of these kind of work. So we were gonna go over to collection and see what we can't do here. So I know default scope. So one, we don't have a database anymore, so that's bad. Let's just call this one test instead of test one. Make a new database, that seems cool. We'll go over to collections now that we have a database. We can say get scope test, and we should get default scope. If we say get scope for test and we say underscore default, this should just return default. We can't get a new scope until we make a new collection. We should be able, oh, so that screen doesn't exist. Create a collection doesn't exist. Get collection doesn't exist. Delete collection does not exist. The list collection, it should be list collections. So okay, we gotta fix some stuff here in collections. So it's looking pretty bad. All right, let's go to work here. Our work is not done until the app is working in the way it should. All right, let's see here. Let's go into our hook and fix the typo. It should be path, collections, not collection. So these are components. We need hooks. Here's our hooks. There should be a collection navigation sections. Here we go. I can close this function and this. Those are done. Default scope, list scopes, list default collection, create collection, get collection, delete collection, list collections. S. And then that's cool. All right, that should fix that typo. That was bugging me. All right, let's go back here and take a look here. So we've got a page. Let's, I guess, try to solve create collection first, and it's blank. All right. So if we go back and take a look, we have a very first problem we have to solve, which is to create a collection, you'd have to give me 3 pieces of information. So we're gonna need a form, like the database config form here. Okay, this is a cool form and it asks for a couple pieces of information. We're gonna need a form like this that gives us the database name, the scope, and the collection. And we can take a look at this from our my old Ionic app version of this. If I were to go into the Ionic version, if I go into collections and create collection, you'll see here I need a database name, a scope, and a collection name. And those are the 3 things I need in order to make a collection. And if I give you those 3 pieces of information, you should be able to do that. Now, I don't think we need to have these sections like this. I think we can just say, look, I think we'll call the header collection. We'll get rid of the database here because that's just a given. And we'll have database, scope, and collection all in one section. And then what we'll do is we'll just make the form, because we're gonna need to use this form multiple times, right? So when we get the document, you're gonna need to be able to use this, right? But you're gonna have a different run here. But we want to be able to have 3 fields. We can get the database, collection, and scope. We're going to use that all over. The rest of the app will pretty much use this concept over and over again. But in create collection specifically, the header itself will be runnable, but the rest of them won't, right? So if we make the form, we can reuse it. And then we can make 2 versions of it. We make an action form, and then we can make just a regular form that they can use with a header on it. And so that way we're going to get the maximum amount of reuse out of this puppy. And that's my... I like reuse when possible. All right, so I think I've got a game plan here. So based on my knowing of the requirements is that I need to be able to collect these 3 pieces of information. And I know that almost every screen in the app after this will need to know the database scope and collection name. Then I need to make this reusable component that I can use everywhere. Index is actually wrong. That should need the scope in. I guess I didn't update these because those should be needing the scope and collection of where to create the index name in. We're supposed to create indexes and scopes or in collections. I probably didn't fix those in the Ionic version, but I can go back and fix those later. All right, so I think we know our very first plan here is let's make a new form that brings in these 3 elements and brings them on the screen. But with that, we need a screen to test that too, right? So we don't need it right away. We know that the create screen, the create collection screen, that's what we're going to use here, right? So it's that thing's currently blank right now, and that's fine. We know the database config is a very close form to what we want, so that may be our baseline file. We're going to call this database scope collection form. TSX. And this will be our new component that we're going to use for those three. Let's grab this because it's probably got most of the stuff we need in it, and we can just kind of fix as we need to. Let's go here and reform it with Prettyfire, and then we're going to say database scope collection form, and we're going to need what things? We'll need we don't need any of these things. We're going to need a new prop. Find our props here. That's the source of the plugin. Let's go find our types. Here's our types. And so we know it's database config form. We're going to make a new one of these called new file database scope collection form props dot type dot ts. And that tells me that this is just nothing more than a type file. So I name it like that. I just want to be able to look at it quickly and see that. This, bring it over here. It's typing, so this is going to be database scope collection form props, and we're going to need a set database name. We'll need a database name. Copy twice, paste, set. This will be replace scope and replace scope, and then 2 more copies, and then we'll make replace. Oh, that's not going to be long enough. I can't use a replace in VI. Collection name like that, and then collection. Okay, we are getting 3 things in our scope collections, database scope collections form. We're getting the database name, the scope name, and the collection. We need to be able to get and set those in states, and we need 6 basically, 3 getters and 3 setters. That looks good. All right, so then we're going to use this for the basis of our things. So we're going to say this is from this file instead. We're going to come from this one here, and then we need to get database name, set database name, scope name, set scope name, collection name, and then set collection name. And this is completely ugly, so let's reformat it and find out why it's mad now. What? This is database scope collection form prop. We just made it. Let's go check it. Database scope collection prop. Set database name. Oh, let's put this in order. Database set scope name. Set scope name. Collection set. Oh, let's read lowercase c, lowercase s. Okay. Now let's see here. Database name, set database name, scope name, set scope name. These are all green. So let's just go back here. These should be format Prettyfire. Those are good. All right, let's see here. Our force field would be. We don't need any of these styles anymore because this is just a stylized there. This will be placeholder, would be database name. I'm gonna say, oops, that's right. And I have name wrong, I know that, but I'll fix that in a second. So capitalize, and this is just database name. Multi-line does not need to be true. I'll have a divider. We'll say we don't care about. Why do we have that set? I don't think we need that. We're gonna say this is going to be placeholder. We have the scope name. Scope name. And we're gonna say here set replace scope. And then this is just scope in, replace scope in. Okay, and then we need another divider, or need that out. Paste that here, and then we'll just copy this. How many lines is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Copy, paste. Alright. I'm using VI, by the way, if you're trying to figure out like how did I just copy 6 lines by counting them. You just type in the number and then YY, that will yank a line, and then you can put it in place for how many of those you want. It means I don't have to use the mouse or keyboard shortcuts. I can just use VI. Let's go here. And I know that we'll probably have to add some padding into this form to get this thing working right, but let's see what's mad about. Style input. Oh, we are not closing the style. I forgot to grab the close tag. My count was off by 1. And that should be it. Okay, we have a new form that will just draw the 3 fields with a divider between the first 2. We need text color. We might need it later, but just so we don't need it right now. That's looking Coolio, actually. All right, let's close this. And we don't need this anymore. We got our scope here. So we've got. We're gonna need another type here in a second because we'll need the one for the action form version of it. So we'll need the action form that does nothing more than run an action, and this will be mostly for create, delete, etc., right? So we'll need a database scope collection action form version of this. New file, database scope collection action form. This X, that's a new action form, and really it's going to just inherit from this and bring in a header at the top of it. And we can pretty much copy this form, here, fix it with prettier. This is going to be called database scope collection action form. We'll need the props for that because we'll need to pass in the handle update, right? So we need that. So let's create the prop next right away before we go further. Right, so let's go to new file. We have to rename this because this is uppercase, needs to be lowercase. Refactor name, make that lowercase. So we're doing it. Okay. Just want to make sure we're following standards here of how we're doing things in JavaScript land. File. This will be database name. Or actually, this is database scope collection action form props type.ts. Rolls right off the tongue. Grab that and that, and then this is the action form, and this will need to take in a handle update. Handle update rest, I think is what I called it in the other ones. Let's make sure we're following standards. So let's find our action. That's it. Let's make sure it's the same spelling of it. All right. And now we can just say this is database, not database name, it's database scope collection action form props from database scope collection action form. There. Just made it. So tell me it doesn't. I probably don't. So export database scope collection action form prop. So grab that. Grab that. Oop. Okay, it's cooled out, and then we just need to say it here, and we need to grab a database form here. Oops, not that. We can just steal it from this version. And then here, modify these, and that should fix that. That gives us our icons for our. But we don't want a database header. We're going to call that collection. So we'll make a collection version of this header. And then we don't even need this because we're going to bring in our newly created form here, our database scope collection form. So we're going to kill this. I'm going to say this is our database scope collection form. And we can say database name. And then we just say set database name, and then we just say the scope name, and set scope name. This is collection name, and this is set collection name. I wish the AI would have kicked in and made this better for me, so I don't have to manually type that in, but it is what it is. What is it mad about now? Show context action. Did I import this? Database scope collection action form. Okay, it imported. I don't need this import anymore. Why is it mad about icons though? Not assignable to icon. That seems weird. Oh, I don't have a close bracket on this. That's just, there we go. Sticking out like a sore thumb. There we go. Now we need this new header because we're going to call that collection instead of that. So let's take a look at that, make that component real quick. And it should only need a single. Well, if I make it multiple, then I only have to make this once. Do I need it? No, I only need a single icon on there. Pretty sure I only need a single icon on there. All right, so database toolbar header view. Database toolbar header view is right there. We need a collection version of that. Collection toolbar header view.tsx. Let's see if we can't figure out what makes a database version of these and see if we can just generic this. Oh, it looks like it's just a single line of code. We just pass it a header toolbar view and we can try the same thing and do the same thing here. So I already did fix this. So this is called a collection toolbar header view. And we just say collection. And then the icon name, we'll have to find the collection icon name. And then icons will be whatever we pass in for icons. So then we need to give it an icon name for the collection itself. Let's prettyfy that, reformat to fix that issue. And then the only thing we need is the icon. Oh boy. Oh, I have the icon in the hook for trying to tab for it. I use cancel. Where is the tab bars? That would be in the main app and then the tabs layout. Where do we have this? Database. This is called bookshelf. And we'll call this bookshelf. Okay. That's our collection toolbar. Now we can just change this out to use that instead. And try clicking import that. Non-assignable type. unpress. How do I fix this? Wait, this should be an array. It should say I'm a type of array and just give me a list of icons. Unpress. You shouldn't take any args in. Why would it take any args in? It should just be a void. Function that takes void. Well, that's definitely our problem. Yeah, signature's not messing. Unpressed. So we have to go and take a look at why that's happening. So let's go into our newly created collection, database collection. This is the header that we just created. So where's collection? C. And this is using a toolbar view props. Toolbar props. Toolbar view props. And this is a header toolbar view. So let's go to header toolbar view and see what's going on with this thing. It takes in icons and icons map. For each one of those, it just says unpressed or an unpress. And that doesn't even care. So let's go take a look at the props file. So I think the prop file, we can change that to be unpressed is void. And what are we saying ours is? Scope, let's see, database scope action form prop. What is handle update press? Oh. TBD Gamer told me a couple days ago on a stream, don't cut and paste, you're gonna kill yourself. There's another word to kill myself. That was a cut and paste error. Let's see here. Don't need that anymore. Don't need that. That's cool. Now where is it at here? I don't need that anymore. That's not bad anymore. Look at that. We should have a new action form that takes in these three things and does stuff with it. And now this will be the basis for like pretty much all of our pages for collections. And we technically speaking should only have to change in the function that it calls, right? If you give me three things, like if you give me a database, a scope, and a collection name, you tell me to delete it, I'll delete it. If you give me the same three pieces of information, you tell me to create it, I'll create it. I think you're getting it. I think you're seeing where I come back with this. So this makes it stupidly simple. All of our pages should be really small. Our screen should be really small, and a bunch of shared code to make my life way easier. Let's see here. So, let's go back to our collection now. We got this crate. Oh, we got crate open. Let's find one that I have already. Get that. Just use this for our basis. And we'll fix this all up in a second. So we're gonna say this is the collection crate screen. Screen. We do need databases. We need a constant database name. We're gonna need a scope name, and we'll need a setter for that, and then we'll need a collection also. So let's go through and grab that too. And we'll say this is collection name. Lowercase collection, and we need to set collection name. Okay, and then result message, navigation, everything else is cool here. We should just say create collection. And then for reset, we just need to add in collection here. Set collection name equal to nothing. This is cool. Database name required. And then this is where we're going to do some new stuff. So we don't need this anymore. We'll comment that out until we figure out what new stuff we want to do. And this will be really kind of interesting because we don't need any of this crap now. We're going to basically bring in the, well, we need the result view, but all this we don't need anymore. In fact, we should be able to just delete all this. And all we need now is a collection. What would you call this? Database scope collection action form, that one. And then a database name. This will be set database name. This will be scope name. This will be set scope name. This will be collection name. This will be set collection name. And this will be update. Collection name here is spelled wrong, or we have a problem. Collection name, that's right. What did I do wrong when I defined it? Collection, collect, that's in a C. That should fix that typo. Update looks good. I forgot to close it. Magic sauce there. Well, we don't need a bunch of stuff. Let's go ahead and kill the stuff we don't need. We don't need that anymore. We don't need text input anymore. Rocking in the free world here with a much smaller set of code. And we should hopefully, there we go. That's not what I pictured happening though. No, that's the wrong UI. Sorry, I was gonna say, wait, that shouldn't be the right UI. I forgot, this is Ionic. I was looking at this going, wait a minute, how did that happen? That's not what should have been there. Let's go to create collection. And this screen does not exist yet because we added code to it and the compiler did not know about the code when it compiled, so it does not exist. We had to run the compiler again because it was a blank file. The compiler will not add new files in. The watcher will only watch existing files in Expo. So if you make a brand new file, you're rebuilding. It only took a second to rebuild, as you saw. Go to collection, go to create collection, and there's our new form. Little jank here, right? We've got some spacing problems we need to fix, but in the overall game, not 100% not happy with that. I think we need to add padding to the top of database name and then remove so much padding in the bottom of the two dividers. So it'd actually be the top of the divider. We need to cut the padding down and add padding to database name. And I think if we keep the padding there, it'll be fine. All right, so I think we can fix this. Let me, normally how I would do this is I'd actually make my ID. Now it sucks when you're streaming like this because your screen size, right? I don't have a lot of screen real estate because I want you guys to be able to see the code. So I have my screen, I actually have my code jacked up pretty high so you can see it. I normally don't run the code this high, but all right. I want to do this so that we can see it in real time as we're changing it. This is normally how I develop if I'm not streaming. I'd do it like this. So let's go back to our, we know that this new one's called this database scope action form, but it's really based on this form here. So if we go into here, this is where our actual components is. You'll see here we have the styles divider text input, and that's what's actually doing the style of this, which I'm not 100% crazy about, right? So styles dot. So we are bringing styles in here. So what I should be able to do is override styles for this form. I should be able to say comma and something like is it that I have to do it like this? I want to override this. So I think I need this, and then do it like this, and then I do it like this, if I remember right. And I can just say margin, it'd be margin top. I only need 5 equals 1.5. But it killed my style. Let's make a new style for this instead of trying to hack this existing one, because we can make as many styles as we want, right? So let's go into the style file and fix it there versus trying to try to make my life miserable here. All right, so let's see here. So for divider text input, we're gonna say find our style file that is located in our components. There should be a themed. There's our style down here somewhere. View style schema, base schema. Here we go. We gotta find divider text input. Right, here we are. We'll say divider collection form, and we'll say here to top. So yeah, that's the problem. See how all that is? I think I only need to be about 5. Bottom 5, margin left 8. So let's do that. Grab this, go into here, say it's this and say it's that instead. And then the same thing in this divider here, make it that instead. Boy, that's looking pretty good right there, honestly. That's not bad. That's exactly what I kind of wanted. I want a little bit more space on the top of database name. So I think what I need to do here though is style this manually. Margin top equals 5. Yep. And then I just need the margin bottom collection to add another 5 on that, on the collection. Oh shit, what am I doing here though? This will do, this is going to override the style. Or is it? No, it seems like it's working, right? I don't think I broke the styled input. I think I should just merge it with what I currently have. And then this would be bottom. Make this 10. Actually, I don't like 10. I like 5. Okay. Hell, looks not bad. Look at that. And now the cool thing though is that this form is like completely repeatable. So for creating, for deleting, it's the same thing. The only difference is the update function. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So that's great. So then delete technically speaking is the same thing here. I can just copy this, do this, and I just change the name of it to be collection delete. And technically speaking here, this would be delete collection. Reset is the same. Update is the same. Banger. Now it shouldn't work because, nope, there it is. That's weird because there was no file. Let's see. So delete collection should now have a UI. Create collection should have a UI. Get default collection. I guess we'll fix that after. Get collection would be the same thing. So wait, how do we not have a get screen? I don't see a file for that. X. Do the same code. The only difference here would be the name of the thing here. Green. And then here would be get collection. Now that's maybe a routing problem. Let's see what the router is set to. Let's go to hooks. Hooks, and here's our navigation. What do we do for get? Collection get. And that's collection that get. It's a new file though. That's right. Since it's a brand new file, hot reload doesn't know it because the file didn't exist before. So hot reload can't get new files. What else are we missing though? We have delete, get, creates there. We're missing default. Default.tsx. And this, technically speaking, would be the same screen as this. And the only difference would be get collection, and this would be called collection get default screen. Okay. Then we can just fix these as we go along here. So let's see here. What are we missing here? We've got scope, default, get, and list. We haven't done list yet. Collection, default, collection, create, collection, get is right there. Collection, delete's right there. Collection, list is there. And then change is right there. Okay. And then we're not going to worry about index right now because that'll be next. So let's see here. That's cool. Let's go ahead and stop it and rebuild it so that it can actually see those files are created. And then we can go through, try and fix the various screens that we just created very quickly. And I think then we'll call the stream done for today. We were going to do create collection first. So let's fix that one first. So there we are. So let's go back to create and see if we can't solve its problems now. I think we can make this full screen. We know the UI works. And I need that extra screen real estate to get some code on here to figure out what's going on here. All right, so we need our update function. We need a function that goes through and creates a new collection. To manage that, though, we need to validate first that the SDK even knows, our module knows how to do that. So we got to go back to here to react to our function here and then find out for this. Let's go to our structure and find out collection create. And what does this do? It calls React Native create collection with name, scope, and collection name. And that's cool. So that means this is registered. Now we can just check Swift real quick to make sure that that function exists. And if it does, we're good. Let's remove that one. Let's go to Xcode, clear menu, close Xcode, because I keep opening the wrong project by accident, and that's aggravating me. So let's clear the menu and get it so that we only have Expo on there, so I'm not getting confused opening the wrong project. Let's see here. So we want Couchbase, not that. We want Couchbase, CBL, just by name. There we go. Expo example, then iOS, and then iOS, there'll be a workspace, and that's the one you want to open. And then all I need to do is check for two things. One, I need to check that the collection, create collection is there with a name. And it's got a colon here, which is good, but scope name is wrong here because this should be here and that should be here. So this is wrong and they will not work. Same thing with here with get collection is wrong. Let's see what else is wrong here. That's wrong. That's wrong. Yes, let's go through and fix these real quick because we obviously have some typos in here. When I created this on Friday, let's see here. That's right. That's right. Those are right. This is wrong. I'm gonna have to do a rebuild because I'm fixing these. So let's see here. That's right. That's right. That's right. Most of the database should be right because I have screens for these already and we've tested them on stream. Boy, that's a long one. Scope. Those are all right. Okay. So that fixed it. And then we just have to go check the this here to make sure that those are also right. So let's go find collection create. So collection create is the name, scope name right here. So create collection with scope name with collection name with result with rejector. That looks right. Collection spelled right. And then we have name, scope name, collection name in that order. And then we call the collection database manager, tell it to create the collection with the collection name, scope name, and database name. And we're good there. Okay. So this looks good. However, I'm gonna have to restart the app because I changed the macro file. And the macro file, it generates that in real time, which means this is even worse because I'm gonna have to do a clean because I need to regenerate everything. So we're gonna close that out. npm cd npm run build. That should build. Expo example npm run pre-build clean. And I do need to do that because I need the macros recreated. And this will pack a lunch. This will take a second, folks. That's like, let me check my text from my wife. My wife says 2 Amazon packages have showed up. Here's my being old problem. I don't know what those 2 packages are. I really don't. And this is still building. Nobody is chatting on YouTube. Checking the chats. Yeah. Pretty quiet here. All right. Let's see if we can take this ship home. Double check YouTube again. I don't see a multi-stream any chats coming in, but it could be broke. Let's double check. And let's go to Custoda, go to the live stream, and just validate there's nothing going on with chat. Okay, we're good there. All right. Also, don't notice that the music hasn't been playing. Now that I think about it, let's go into the music thing. And the reason why I use this the music is Streamlabs is for the music only. Oh, I don't want studio mode. There we go. Music's running again. All right, let's see what's going on here. The build is done. 53 seconds. Okay, well, hey, hell, there we go. Now we can just do npm run iOS, and that should run our iOS project, and that just does an expo command because I'm lazy and I don't have to remember all the expo commands because I have to remember all. I pretty much set up I learned what the commands are. I put them in a npm package file, you know, our package.json file, and then I forget. And I just make very simple commands like here, expo start, pre-build clean does the pre-build, iOS just runs export run iOS, and then Android. And then all I have to do is remember the npm commands. And I try to make those commands the same on all platforms, like they're the same on Ionic as they are in React Native. That way I just have to remember one thing. Lazy developer syndrome. Yes, very much so. But when you have to write so many different platforms and stuff, you have to find tricks to keep yourself from have to remember too many things. Excuse me. Let's see here. So create collection. With that all said, all we should now need is a function call to it. So we don't have anything for collection yet. So in our services, we're going to make a directory. This will probably require the debugger to restart again because we're going to have a new directory file. Collection. And then create in here, new file, create.ts. We will add that to source control and to create, and we'll need collection, remote need scope. We'll need a database name. The databases, we'll need the scope name, and we'll need the collection name. String. And we'll bring back a collection. And then what we need to do here, I think this is just reformat. Okay, so here we go, databases, then we're gonna say const collection equals database. Create collection, scope, name. But it's backwards. It needs to be collection name first, scope name like this. Okay. Then we just need to return the collection. Why are we? Did we have a problem where we weren't properly getting the error because rethrowing is not needed here? It's the waste. I wonder if we were running the problems with. I remember when we were writing the scope stuff, we were running into problems. I wonder if I did that for debugging reasons. Where the rethrow, if I didn't rethrow, we were eating the exception. If I remember right, that was the case. We shouldn't need this though. It should be not needed because if this blows up, it should blow up in the next level up, which we do have to try to catch. This let should be a const, so we're never going to change the database value. That's good. That also means that the scope thing is wrong. Get here. This shouldn't be a let. This should be a const. All right. Should I just write the other ones while I'm at it? Because I'm gonna have to. I should just do that. Default TS. And this is default collection. You would take three things in, a database, and then a scope name. Nope, this wouldn't. All you need is the database because let's fix this. Collection. Oh, this is going to return a promise of a collection. And that, for whatever reason, we fix. Import from React Native, or from our React Native library. Why is this bad now? Expected. Oh, shit! I did this in the wrong spot. Should be default collection. These are the arguments we're sending in promise of collection. We need a database name, databases, collection, should be collection equals weight, default collection. And then we should just return collection. And that should be right. Default, and then we can also get taken care of while we're here. Yes, get is almost the same thing as default. That do get real quick. Get is get collection, and we will need the scope name, string, collection name, That's also a string. Then we will return back a collection. We'll check here, but we'll say database get collection, and we should need two things: a collection name and a scope name. We should just be able to hover over this and confirm that's what the signature is. That's right. Collection. We're good. Let's get collection. So we got get, create, and default all done. And boy, might as well do delete. Got it. And delete's almost the same thing as get. So the only difference is this is delete. And we don't need scope. Nor do we need scope inside this. Okay. Check default, make sure we don't have scope there. Reference things we don't need, and create, we are right. Okay, so delete the exact same thing except for we go and say delete collection. And we would say collection name, scope name, take this space out there, hover over this. And this should just be a void. If it doesn't crash, we're good. So we just say here, this should be a const, not right there. And then just, that's it. Should just be void. You gotta go back and fix those other ones where databases set the latents, the const. Don't know why I keep doing that. Oh, because I'm writing Swift, that's why. Swift uses the let keyword. That's right. Great. All right. We've got CRUD here. We don't have the list yet, but we'll get to that after. We'll do the list for scope and collection both at the end. All right, so we see here, we are good. We now know that we have this crate. And so we should be able to do is import it and use it. So let's go here and say update. Otherwise, we're going to say const collection equals crate. And crate is it called crate? It's called crate. And we're sending it databases, database name, scope name, then collection name. And then we say collection name. Let's see if we can fix it prettier and then have this import properly. You want to import from see, there's just too many crates. But that's the right one. I'm going to say here, found collection. I'm going to say here, this is collection dot name. Fix that prettier. And we should probably do the format of this $sign collection dot scope dot name dot collection name in database. We don't need that though. They passed us the database name as database name. So we can just cheat, say database name. Okay. Feeling pretty good about that. Found collection, give it the scope name dot collection name and database. Otherwise, show an error. Puppies, kittens, and rainbows. We had to rebuild because we did all those files, so let's do another here. I should do a build. And then really the rest of these collection screens should go together really quick because they all have their functions already written. They all must have the same UI. They're just changing out the function call and magic size. Collection, and let's see here. So let's go to create collection, test. Oh, first, let's open the database. We'll call this test. Sounds great. Collections, create a collection, test one, test one. What happens? Found collection in database. We don't want to say found though, we want to say created. Okay, that's cool. And if we try to create it again, I think that should work actually. Okay, so it doesn't like periods in the collection name. Good to know. Okay, so we should be able to now. Well, I don't remember this. Oh, we did test 1 and test 1. So we should be able to delete a collection by using test 1, test 1, and then we have test 1, 2. Now delete doesn't do anything because we haven't wired it up yet, so it's good to do that. And we should be able to delete. Find this here, delete screen, and everything should be good up to here, right? So we need to go find. Delete. Let's go find our function. I think I want to rename that function because I don't think we need to put the collection name in it because it's in the folder, right? If I'm following my pattern here. Oh, I did it because delete's a keyword. Never mind. Never mind what I just said. We will be using that. We're gonna say. Wait, delete collection. We're gonna set the databases, database name, scope name, collection name, and then we're gonna find this by importing it. Import, and we're going to fix the file, and then we're gonna say set results. I'm gonna say deleted. Collection. We're just gonna say scope name dot collection name and database. Put this in here so we know that's the name of it. This just makes it easier to read the log messages that we're doing here. Oop. Nope. Don't need that. Scope name, collection name, and the database. That should be magic sauce. And now when we see the text in there, we can use these carets to know, okay, that's where the variable names were. That should be it. Delete should be rock and rolling here. Let's get our simulator back up here. Okay. Delete collection, database name, test, scope 1, test 1. Nothing happened. Okay, let's go ahead and rerun it. And I got some thunder going on here outside the way. Buffer does not create. And what? Not sure what's going on here. Why it's mad. Buffer does not exist in engine harms. This usually is nothing to do with me. Let me go ahead and rerun a clean and npm run pre-build clean. I've created too many files, across the stream too much, and we are having some kind of probably cache problem. There's a reason they create the clean cache command. If the cache was perfect, you would not need the command to clean it. That's just the gist of how things work. But yes, we're almost done here. So I think, like I said, we'll get delete done. We'll get default done. That's really easy. And get. And then hopefully I don't lose power. It's almost 4 o'clock here. And I know there's supposed to be a big storm coming in. Should check that real quick to see how bad that big storm coming in is. I could lose power. I do have battery backup that lasts for about, oh boy. See all that green and red and the lightning bolts? That's the weather in my area right now. Yeah, we are full functioning in a massive storm here. The stream may be ending early. I may lose power, and not my choice, folks. So if I just disappear, it's the storm that did it. Let's see here. Let's run iOS again and see if we get the buffering problem again this time. Let's see here. And it's building. There's a lot. I think I've showed this off in the previous stream. There's a lot of Cocoa Pods to make an Expo app work. And so, man, when it builds, it takes a while. Oh, I've got this little Darth Vader thing I printed from my 3D printer. If you're kind of interested, that looks kind of cool. It's a picture of Darth Vader. Hard to see unless you're in the right lighting, but that's the man, the myth, the legend. I look up to him. What a role model. All sarcasm, folks. If you can't handle sarcasm, you probably shouldn't watch my stream. We can check my 3D printer. Let's see what the 3D printer's up to. Also, while I'm at it here, let's go here and check. What is it? It is. While we're waiting, we'll bring up Bamboo Studio and see what's going on with my 3D printer. I am printing acoustics tiles from my wall for the studio desk over here that I'll be using for doing videos. Let's check the device. 3D printers are awesome, by the way, folks. If you're a developer and you don't have one, think about getting one. They're pretty cool. I'm still getting a buffer error, but why? Buffer doesn't exist. I don't know why. Why would I haven't added all that much code? Why would that cause that to happen? Here's my 3D printer running, so it's halfway done with its latest acoustic sound tile. And it's running through, and that's working pretty good, so that's good. But I'm a little concerned about this. Open, test. Default location, been successfully. Collection. Delete collection. Huh. It's saying delete collection doesn't exist, but I just had it up. It's right here. Here. Delete screen. Collection delete screen. Let's see if we can figure out what the error is really saying here. Buffer does not exist in engine. So it's the Expo router that's having the problem. So this is an Expo router itself. Let's go find out what Expo router. So we know that we're getting the routes set in the service where I renamed some things, and maybe that's where it's going wrong. So let's find in our hook the collection navigation. This is where we went through and added this. So let's see here. I'm guessing that some of these things are probably bad because delete's like a keyword. Maybe that's what's causing this. And right here, collection delete. I just said delete collection. See if that will fix it. And then that means the path that would have to also fix. So in here, this would have to be renamed. Let's see here. Refactor, rename, delete It says that it reloaded. Did you see where it reloaded the router module and stuff? Oh boy. Oh boy. That's bad. Bomberino. Let's try running again. I think this might be an export router problem though. Don't think this is on me. Export router is like supposedly stable but experimental. I don't know how it's supposed to be both those things, but it tends to be. So let's see what happens. I'm hoping that maybe it's just like the path was weird. No. So I'm still getting expo router buffer doesn't exist in engine rooms. Let's, I guess, Google this. Oh. Not the only person to see this. I didn't take any packages. I don't change any of this. So I don't understand why that would be happening. Right here. I'm not using buffer though. This is just the expo thing. I mean, is there a new version of Expo maybe out? That's... It's weird though that this will just start randomly happening the minute I started adding more pages into my router. So it's definitely not the delete collection that's causing it. I mean, I'm trying to think here. I know get works because I have a page for scope get that works. I can't see whether like create's not a keyword that I know of. And I'm not even using it. And it only happens, no, it happens when I launch by default. Pure run. Another clean, I guess, is see if there's some weird thing going on, but this seems weird. Buffer. I'm not doing any of this stuff. That's definitely not my fault. Change the index to be the following. So this one looks like it's the most likely here. Is also delete the .expo folder. That seems like to me would be something that would be possibly causing this, like if the expo folder. But clear cache should be fixing that, right? So, and there it is. See if we do completely nuke the expo folder, see what happens. iOS. But my index is not needed because I'm using Expo routers. So what ends up happening is you just have this layout file and Expo does everything for you. There should be a in the past, I didn't have to do anything but that. There was an old hack that you had to do with Expo where you had to bring an index file in the root directory and tell it to import the Expo router, but I haven't had to need that. It was this code right here, I think. Nope, this isn't it either. Weather's getting really rough out there at my place here. Hey, Nick. How's it going today? It is raining cats and dogs here and being very rough. Let's see if my super chat extension worked. It did not work. Weird. Oh boy. Let's see if I get lucky here. Otherwise I may have to be Googling, figuring out why does Expo's router break. I don't know if it's like a maximum amount of pages you can have in a router. Very cloudy, but diving into some Swift UI soon. Oh, well, good for you, man. Swift UI is fun. I'm gonna come out and say debugging Expo router issues not as fun.
Am I alive yet?
See what happens here. We're compiling. Okay. Linker is gonna probably kick in a second here. Yep. Okay. Please no buffer. Please no buffer. Nope. Still the same error. Say here, it is Expo router GAC.js error buffer doesn't exist. And people are complaining about this. I don't use that. fixed 2 years ago. This makes no sense whatsoever. What screens are there? Scope screens are there. No scope. Get default collections here. Crate collections here. Light collections here. Okay, so what's going on? Okay, so wait a minute. That tells me something's going on with delete collections code. Something's weird going on there because all the other screens are working. So let's see if we can figure out what's going on with delete collection. What did we do here? Why is delete collection? Oh, wait, what is this? Take a look here. I did not write that line. I don't know what this is either. Why is Babel translate in here? Did you see those imports? ID had to do those imports when I was writing code. That's what's going on. Take a look. These two imports. That's what's causing the issue. That's what's causing the issue. For the love of everything good in the universe. Alright, let's go back. Open a database. Test. Open successfully. Puppies, kittens, and rainbows. Let's go to delete collection. So do I have to reload this puppy because of that? I mean, that's definitely the issue, that the imports are wrong, and that's what was causing the whole problem. But now, did it do something weird to a file somewhere that I don't know about? Like, did it try to import like some weird package or something? I don't think so. Open. Test. With that directory. Puppies, kittens, and rainbows. Collection. Delete collection. Test. Test 1. Test 1. Okay. That didn't exist though. Don't remember if there was an exception if it doesn't exist or not. So the only way to find out if this actually worked though is to you gotta make the list collection screen. Oh I told my wife I would help her wash Yoda. Oh, the weather's going crazy here. I guess we'll go a little bit longer here. So let's see here. So we think delete collection's working, but the only way to truly find that out is to oh, actually, we can get the get screen working. Test 1, test 1. And this shouldn't do anything, right? So we can get working, and then we should be able to see whether or not we get a collection or not. Let's see here. And that should be very quick because we wrote all the code for that. So let's see here. Under collection, under get. This would all exist. And the only thing we have to do is in here, we want to get a collection, and that's under our services. Our services collection gets right here, and that should just take in database name, scope, collection, and it should return a collection. So yeah, okay, cool. Well, let's work here. Const collection equals get database name, scope, name, collection. And let's see if we can, if it's smart enough to know where get is. Get is in no. That's actually in services collection. Right? Collection get. It's prettier. Make it that happy. And then we'll sit here, find collection, and we'll do our famous thing here. Always say here, scope name, speak. Scope name, dot, collection dot name. Actually, collection full name should give us that back. How am I thinking here? The collection dot full name. And database. Ooh. Database. And we'll just put our side. Okay. That seems great. Cool. Reload. Okay, that's not good. Let me open our database. Just copy this, I think. Okay. Collection, go to get collection. Test, default, default, default. So what happens. Okay, so CDL collection get collection was called with 3 arguments, but expected 2 arguments. Okay, so we've got some kind of problem going on here with the bridge. All right, so we should be passing 3 things: database name, scope name, collection name. So we will have to take a look at what we do on both sides. So let's go back to native engine here and see what we're doing from a call. So we can go into our structure here, figure this out. So structure, collection, and we want to go to collection, get collection, and then collection, get collection. We would send it the name, scope name, and the collection name. 3 things. Okay. So now we have to go look at Swift. Minimize this back down. Like that. Let's go find Swift. It's not open. Let's open the project in Swift. Wait for Xcode to load. Xcode shouldn't take this long. Okay, Xcode's there. Wait for Xcode to load. And then let's take a look at our pods, our development pods, our new pod we're working on, our example node modules, go into our actual code for iOS. We have 2 things to look at. We have to look at our macro file, and then we have to also look at the actual implementation. Move the implementation over here. Come on. Oh, don't be a turd. Okay, collection. Okay, collection. Okay, we are saying with name, with scope name. Oh, let's minimize this so we can see it better too. All right, we're saying get collection. This could be the database name, with scope name, with collection name, with resolver. So there's 3 arguments. Colon, colon, colon. 3 arguments, 5 in total. Okay. Go over here to our implementation, collection, get collection. What do we got? We've got collection, get collection with scope name, with collection name, with resolver, with rejector. And this is collection, get collection. Name, scope name, collection, resolve, rejector. That's right. Collection. But it's coming back with an error saying very specifically. And it's called 3 arguments, but expects 2. This was back when I had the colons that was wrong and I fixed them. I think we haven't, it's got a cache build of the old Swift code with the macro where this is wrong, right? Get collection, collection, get collection, that's right. With scope name. And I hate that this also, something reformatted it. They should be like that. Makes it super hard to read when they're that tabbed over. I hate to have to manually fix this. Obviously, not great. See, it's much more readable because now I can see more of the name. This should just be 2 spaces over. Okay, just double check. Get collection, variable name for get collection. With scope name, variable name for scope name. With collection, variable name for collection name. These 2 are injected in as part of the macro. Over here, get collection with scope name, with collection name, with resolver, with rejector. Collection name, make sure that's spelled right. Scope name, make sure that's, make sure that's spelled right. Make sure that's spelled right. I mean, this should be, these all should be right. Let's see here. Well, delete collection was working. We ran that. I know for a fact we ran that, and it did not fail when we ran it. And so delete collection should look the exact same as get collection. We should have a name with scope name, with collection name, with resolver, and with rejector. And all this should be the same. Create collection wasn't failing either, and it should have the same thing. Create collection, scope name, collection name. Yeah, that's good. Get collection, get collection. Oh, good. Let's get collections versus get collection. Make sure we don't have these screwed up. That's what's going on. It's a S versus a S. Oh, I know what the hell's going on. It's got to be in our JavaScript code. We're calling the wrong one. I bet you that's what's going on. Yep, let's go ahead and save that. I think I know where the typo is. I think the typo is in here. I think when we call this get collection, we're calling get collections instead of that. That's the problem. Bummer. Boy. The letter S. Get you every time, singular versus plural. That took longer than I should have took to see. All right. Let's go back to database, open, test database, go into collection and get collection. Test one, see if that works. So even though I changed the code, I changed it in the name module, I have to rebuild. Bummer. Bummer. All right, well, I'll just run again. Cross our fingers. In general, writing React Native modules, very slow developer turnaround time on the code because of the manual rebuilding you have to do over and over again and stuff. In Ionic, it's not much better, to tell you the truth. A little bit better, but not much. Call this test. There we go. Collection. Let's go with get collection and just get the underscore default one test. And this should always work. Okay. Well, that line is wrong. Where the hell's that page at? Our actual line should be found collection full name. Like that in like that. Let's see that. That's how it's supposed to look. Underscore default, underscore default. Refresh. Test. Test one. Test one. Let's see if we can. Unable to get it. Cool. Does this work though? I found it. That's exactly because we deleted test one, but we didn't delete test one too. That means our delete code's working. That's badass. Cool. All right. That means I can check off the box, get collection, delete collections working, create collections working, because we'll do that. Get default collection. I don't know if that works. Yes. No, I know it doesn't work. I know it doesn't work. Let's go fix that real quick. Get default collection. Get default collection. So that'd be the default one here. Let's see what's going on here. Put here, we don't care about that. Collection, get default collection. That's wrong. Where's the typo? Oh, the typo's in the update method here, man. It's gonna be looking for a scope instead. Let's fix that for right now. And let's see here, it's asking for two things. It shouldn't need that though. It shouldn't need a scope. All it needs is why would I bring that in? It's not needed. All we need is the database name. What's scope's the default screen? UI. Should be the same thing. Yeah, it should just be this right here. Should be nowhere more complicated than this. Let's go clean the imports. Just give me a bunch of import names to be mad about. And let's see here. And then all that should happen is we have that service collection default. Did I write this? I did. Okay. So we can just say default collection. So we need to import in. We're just gonna run with, we don't even need scope. scope name in here. Scope message we do need. And get default collections, cool. And then don't need that. And what we need to do here is say, I mean, if we see two lines, so we're gonna say, collection equals default collection. All we have to do is send it database and database name and scope name. We should be able to import this in. Yep. And then this should be set to previous found collection. This collection dot full name. And we can say database name like that. And I'll be pretty happy with that. Oh, I don't know if you heard that lightning, thunder and lightning. It's getting pretty rough out there, folks. And the life in Alabama. All right, let's see here. That looks pretty good. All right. Let's see if this works. The default collection test. There it is. So get default collections working, create collections working. We can say test, scope, scope 1, collection 1. Create a new collection and scope. Let's go to get that collection. Test, scope 1, collection 1. See if we can get it. That's it. If we say 2, we should not be able to get it. If we set 2 here, 1 here, that should also not work. But if we change it back both to 1, that should. There we go. Gets working, so we can delete that too. Task scope 1, collection 1. There's deleted, and if we go back to get collection, task scope 1, collection 1. Unable to get it because we deleted it. Perfect. So basically, list collections and list scopes are the last two things to do. And I think I'm gonna do this tomorrow because it's 4:30. It's streaming for about 3 hours and 15 minutes here, and this weather's getting pretty bad here, so I'm probably gonna head out, take some of my daily pills that I need to take to keep myself healthy, and then I need to go help my wife give Yoda, our dog, a bath because he's stinky. All right. Well, folks, if you're watching video on demand, I appreciate you hanging out and learning more about React Native module development with Expo, and also checking out what I'm doing with Couchbase Lite as I'm building this native module and got almost most of the pages done here. I'll probably stream tomorrow morning, and I'll get the list scopes and list collection screens done. Those are a little bit more complicated because we have to make a list of the results. Not all that terrible difficult to tell you the truth. It's really just a loop that you loop through the results of the collections that come back, and then you just make a message for them so that you can see them. So it's like 5 more lines of code. So it's not hugely complicated more, but different. And then we'll stumble back onto probably indexes just to get those out and over with. Excuse me. And then we'll move on to documents and query, and then replication last. So almost halfway through, I would say. Documents take a long time. There's a lot of things go on there, especially with blobs. I don't even have all of the stuff here because I know the blob page are missing. And then query is pretty basic. There's only 3 screens, and really not that hard. But then replication is the monster. It is so hard. Database obviously has the most stuff in it because we're a database platform. There's probably a lot of stuff there. So I feel pretty confident and be able to get most of the stuff done this week. So we'll see what happens. But anyways, appreciate your all time for watching the stream on Video on Demand. I'll see you guys on the next stream.